Once again, CBSE class 10th student with same topic, that is the nutrition in human. Previously, you know very well, the nutrition in human is the mode called the holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition, which is completed in 5 steps: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. Okay, ingestion we are already completed in our previous video. It's a process by which we put the food in our mouth. Mouth, that is also called buccal cavity, and it is composed of 3 parts: teeth, which cut our food into small pieces; second, salivary gland, which secretes saliva; and third, tongue, which mixes up the food together. Salivary saliva contain an enzyme called the salivary amylase, and this enzyme, what is enzyme? Enzymes are actually the chemical catalyst which increases the rate of reaction here. So salivary amylase start digesting the complex food, complex sugar molecule or carbohydrate into simpler one, and chemical digestion is going on in our mouth. Okay, what happened after the mouth? The semi-digested food, which is mixed with the tongue, mix all the saliva with the food. So the semi-digested food, which is mixed with the help of the tongue, is swelling down in the oesophagus. So what function that is performed inside the oesophagus? Function in oesophagus. Now what is oesophagus? You know very well, it is the food pipe. What is the process previously going on? The food comes in the mouth, the teeth chewed it, cut into the small pieces, saliva is mixed with the help of the tongue, and that slippery food passes in the oesophagus, or it slips down in the oesophagus. Oesophagus swells in the partially digested food. So what happened here? What is the function of the oesophagus? Oesophagus, that is slightly or semi-digested food, digested food is swallowed by the oesophagus. So how this process is going on? How the oesophagus swallows down the food? It is because of a movement. It is present in the oesophagus. Its movement is not present only in the food pipe. It is present in the whole alimentary canal, from mouth to up to the anus. This process is going on. A slightly movement of the inner wall of the alimentary canal. Here also the inner wall of the oesophagus moves slightly and slips the food from mouth to the stomach. This slightly movement is due to the contraction and expansion of the inner layer of the oesophagus, and this movement is called the peristalic movement. Okay, so what happened here? The wall of, or the inner wall of oesophagus contract and expand to generate a movement called peristaltic movement. And this movement helps the slippery food to slip down in the stomach through the oesophagus. Okay, this peristaltic movement is not present only in the oesophagus, but this peristaltic movement present in alimentary canal. Alimentary canal, again, it is a digestive tract or the gut. So that is the function which is performed by the oesophagus. So this is the junction point between the mouth and stomach. How the food reaches to the stomach. It is with the help of food pipe, that is called oesophagus. Now we are already completed what is the process that is going on in the stomach. Actually, food gets food start digestion in the stomach only. The second part of the digestion, the first part of the digestion is digestion in mouth. The second part of the digestion is digestion in stomach. Digestion in stomach. Through the esophagus, the food reaches in the stomach. It is slippery because of the saliva is present in that. It is cut into small pieces also. Okay. Now, next process is going on in the stomach. Our stomach is placed left side of the abdomen. Okay. The stomach is placed left side of abdomen. Okay. Also, it is near how J in shape. Look after in your diagram. It is somehow J in shape. It is nearly J-shaped organ. Somehow shape is the considered as a J shape. You have to look after in your diagram only. It is little bit J in the shape. Okay. Now what happened in the stomach? The food stay in the stomach up to 3 hours. The food churn in stomach. The food churned or stay in a stomach. The stomach at least for 3 hours. ऐसा नहीं होता कि हम खाना खाए और हमारा पेट बिल्कुल खाली हो जाता है. That is not possible. Our food gets still in the stomach, and the process of digestion is going on there in the stomach. What happened in the stomach? The stomach also contains a gland. That gland is called the gastric gland. And what is the function of gastric gland? Gastric gland secreted gastric or digestive juice. The stomach contains a gland, or a gland is present in the stomach called a gland is present in the stomach called gastric gland. And what is the function of this gland? Gastric gland which secretes gastric juice. Gastric juice. Gastric juice is not simple enzyme. It is actually the group of 3 substances. Gastric juice is also called digestive juice. Gastric juice contains 3 substances. First is the HCl, that we call the hydrochloric acid. It is an acid. What is the role of this HCl? It provides acidic medium to the food. It provides acidic medium to our food. Okay. Why this acidic medium is important? Because the gastric juice contains an enzyme called pepsin. It contains pepsin enzyme. And to activate pepsin enzyme, acidic medium is needed. इस pepsin enzyme को activate करने के लिए acidic medium needed है, जरूरत है. That's why the HCl is secreted here. HCl is produced here. The HCl provides acidic medium to food, and due to that acidic medium, this pepsin enzyme gets activated to convert or to digest. What is the role of pepsin? It begin digest the protein. Protein digestion is begin. Okay. Then what is the second substance which is present here in the gastric juice? That is called the mucus. Mucus is a secretion. What is the role of mucus? Mucus overlaps all the inner wall of the stomach. स्टमक की इनर वॉल के ऊपर एक कोटिंग का फॉर्मेशन करता है. व्हाई इट कोटेड द इनर वॉल ऑफ द स्टमक? बिकॉज इट प्रोटेक्ट द स्टमक फ्रॉम द इफेक्ट ऑफ दिस एसिड. उस एसिड से स्टमक को बचाता है. एसिड क्या कर रहा है? प्रोवाइड द एसिडिक मीडियम टू एक्टिवेट द पेप्सिन, बट दैट एसिड ऑल्सो प्रोड्यूस some problem in our stomach lining. So what is the role of mucus? Mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach. Mucus, it protects the inner lining of the stomach. किससे प्रोटेक्ट करता है? It protects the stomach from the effect of the acid which is present here. Now what happened in the mouth? The food is partially digested, set down through esophagus by a movement called Peristalic Movement, and then the food reaches to the stomach. Here gastric juice is present, which in mouth the digestion of carbohydrate is begin. What happened in the stomach? Digestion of protein is begin here. Then this partially digested food gets entered in the small intestine. This partially digested food, here also the complete digestion is not going on. It is again in the first part, that is the digestion in the stomach, only carbohydrate is started, the digestion of the carbohydrate is started. What happened in the stomach? The digestion of protein is started, but next process is completed in the small intestine. So what happened after the process completed in the stomach? The partially digested food enters in the small intestine. The partially digested food get enter in a small intestine. So look at your diagram. The small intestine. Okay, the third step is the step of digestion. The step of digestion is the digestion in small intestine. Digestion in small intestine. Okay, now look at the diagram. The two organs come and join here. Okay, small intestine is the place which is the largest part of the alimentary canal, or alimentary canal along small intestine, because the complete digestion process is going on here only. So what is about the small intestine? It is largest part of our alimentary canal. And one more important thing, the length of small intestine is varies in different type of the animals. We are the humans. Okay, if the animals were herbivore in nature, so what type of the length of that herbivore animal is longer as compared the length of the carnivore animal, because the herbivorous, they eat cellulose, which is the grass in the form of the carbohydrate which they eat is called the cellulose, and cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. It takes too much time to digest, so it has a long small intestine. But the carnivorous animal, they eat the flesh, and it is somehow easier to digest the flesh. So the size of the small intestine in carnivore animals is small as compared to the herbivore animal. Okay, the complete digestion process is completed in small intestine. So we simply call it is the site of complete digestion. Digestion, which is started from the mouth. Carbohydrate start digested in mouth because of the salivary amylase. Then food reaches in stomach. The protein start digestion there. That is because of the pepsin. Protein start get converted into the simpler form. Then our food reaches to the small intestine. The small intestine is important because it receives some substance secretion from two glands. Okay, the small intestine Intestine receives secretion from two glands. We have to study it separately. Both are important. First is the liver. Liver is the largest gland in our body. It is made up of 5 lobes. Liver is the largest gland which is present in our body. Liver consists one organ that is called the gallbladder. So what is the role of liver? Liver actually secretes the bile. Bile, it is a greenish yellow fluid or the liquid which is stored in the gallbladder. It is alkaline in nature and it contains the salt which emulsify the fat. So what is the importance of liver? I already told you, liver is the largest gland of our body which is made up of the 5 lobes. And the important work of the liver is it secretes bile. It secretes bile. And what is the bile? Bile is a type of salt which is greenish yellow in color. Greenish yellow in color. It is stored in bile. It is stored in gallbladder. Gallbladder is also a lobe present in liver. It is stored in gallbladder. And what is the function of this bile? Bile salt emulsifies the fat globules. Okay, what is the role of bile? Emulsification of fat. What is the role of bile? Bile emulsify the fat. Emulsification of fat. What is the meaning of emulsification of fat? It means bile cut down or break down the strong molecules of fat into small globulates, a small part. Okay, that is the role of the bile. So bile is most important thing which is connected with the small intestine through a duct called the bile duct. The bile duct releases the bile in the small intestine. One more interesting thing you know about one disease called the jaundice. Pilia, very common disease in most of the Indian parts. Okay, in jaundice or in the pilia, the doctor advised the patient not to eat the oily food. Okay, why doctor advised not to eat the oily food? Only boiled or simple food is given to the patient because in jaundice our liver get affected. Okay, jaundice में हमारे liver के ऊपर effect पड़ता है. The function of the liver get destroyed and because of that the bile secretion get affected and only bile is responsible for the digestion of fat. At that condition our body is unable to digest the fat molecules. So at that time doctor advised not to eat the fat molecules more than our capacity. Okay, that is the importance of the liver. The second organ which is joined with a small intestine is the pancreas. Second is the pancreas. See in your diagram, one side the liver is present and another side the pancreas is also present. Pancreas is called exo and endocrine gland. It plays a role of both the type of the gland. Pancreas is the common exo and endocrine gland. It is endocrine gland sometimes when it helps in the assimilation of the food, but in digestion it plays as the exocrine gland. The second organ which connected with the small intestine is called pancreas. Now what is the importance of pancreas? Pancreas, it contains pancreatic juice. Okay, it secretes pancreatic juice. What is the role of pancreas? It secretes pancreatic juice. pancreatic juice. Now, what is the role of pancreatic juice? Pancreatic juice contains three types of substances. Okay, first is called pancreatic amylase. Pancreatic amylase. Second is called lipase. And third is called, second is lipase and third is called trypsin. Trypsin. Third is called trypsin. Okay, the three substances are present in pancreatic juice. And the three substances present, it means it has to perform the three functions. Amylase, that is the breakdown. Amylase, salivary amylase, we already know about the salivary amylase. If the word amylase is there, it means this enzyme converts the carbohydrate into starch. Okay, breakdown of the starch, simple process, breakdown of the starch. The starch is digested in stomach and it is completed here in the small intestine with the help of the pancreatic amylase. Now next is the lipase. What is the function of lipase? Function of lipase, breakdown of fat molecules already emulsified, and this emulsified fat get again emulsified for more simpler substance. Now, what is the role of trypsin? Trypsin digests the breakdown of protein. It digested the protein. It breaks down proteins, the three essential food components that is present in our body. And here, the substance starts digestion. It is going on in the complete digestion process. Before completion here, some juices are secreted by small intestine also. Okay, because next is some juices which is secreted by small intestine. Already we are giving the 3 points. This is the 4th point. The juice that is secreted by small intestine is called intestinal juice. This is the role of the small intestinal juice. It is secreted by intestinal gland. Okay, first write intestinal gland. And what is the secretion of intestinal gland? It secretes intestinal juice. Okay, it secretes intestinal juice. Okay, what is the role of this intestinal juice? Okay, in this intestinal juice completes the digestion process. The digestion process finally completed here. This intestinal juice converts starch to glucose, protein to amino acids, okay, and fats to fatty acid and glycerol. Hence the food get completely digested. Here the food get completely digested. So complete digestion of food. So food get completely digested. And this is the second step of digestion. First, ingestion. We put our food in our mouth, that is called digestion. Then the digestion, food get digested first in the stomach, where the digestion of the carbohydrate is start. Then food reaches in stomach, where digestion of protein is start. Finally, the food reaches the small intestine, and with the help of the liver and the pancreas, the complete digestion of food is happened here, and due to which the starch gets converted into glucose, proteins get converted into amino acid, and fats get converted into fatty acid and glycerol. And this is the simplest form of our food. The next step is the absorption of the food molecule. absorption process, again the small intestine is responsible for this process. The last part of the small intestine is made up of the inner layer of the last part of the small intestine. Okay, that is called the ileum. The small intestine is composed of three parts. First is called the jejunum, then duodenum, and last is the ileum. The ileum, the last part of the small intestine, the inner wall of the ileum contains finger-like projection, like this, and this is called the villi. Okay, ileum of a small intestine, ileum, ileum of a small intestine, okay, contain villi. What is the villi? Villi has a finger-like projection. Let us suppose the wall is like this only. अगर wall ऐसे रहता तो क्या होता? जो absorption होता वो इतने process से होता, इतने surface से होता. Okay, but now what happened? The wall is not like this. It is like this. So it increases the surface area for absorption. ठीक है, इसलिए थोड़ी सी जगह पर सरफेस एरिया बढ़ गया, इसके लिए एब्जॉर्प्शन के लिए. तो दैट इज द रोल ऑफ, अगेन वन मोर इम्पोर्टेंट रोल ऑफ द स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन. व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन? स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन also play an important role in the process of absorption. What happened in the absorption? That is the third step of the digestion, absorption. The inner wall of ileum of small intestine, ileum of small intestine contain numerous finger-like projections called villi. And as I told you, what is the role of villi? Villi increases the surface area for absorption. Villi increases the surface area for absorption. Now what happened in the digestion? The food gets converted into simpler substance, that is starch gets converted into glucose, protein gets converted into amino acid, fat gets converted into fatty acid and the glycerol, and that is absorbed by the villi, and villi transfer all the simplest food to our blood system, our circulatory system, or to the blood, and blood assimilates all this substance throughout the cells of the body. So next step is the assimilation. This absorbed nutrients get into the blood vessels. Blood carries all the nutrients and supply it throughout the body. Our body has a complete circulatory system. And what happened there? The food, the digested food or the nutrients get oxidized in the process called respiration, and our body cell gets energy. Okay, one more process is going on. It does not happen everywhere. Every time हम जितना भी खाना खाएंगे वो पूरा का पूरा हमारे बॉडी में एनर्जी के लिए यूटिलाइज नहीं होगा. The energy that is used in our body depend upon our habit, our work ability, etc. आपने खाना खा लिया, कुछ एक्सरसाइज नहीं किया, कुछ स्टडी नहीं किया, आप डल से बैठे हुए हो, तो द एनर्जी इज नॉट यूटिलाइज्ड इन आवर बॉडी. एट दैट टाइम लीवर प्ले एन इम्पोर्टेंट रोल. जो एक्स्ट्रा ग्लूकोज है, जो extra glucose gives us energy. The extra glucose gets converted with the help of the liver. It gets converted into glycogen. And glycogen is called the stored food for our body. When our body needs the food, that glycogen is converted into glucose. The liver again convert the glycogen into glucose, and then we get the energy at the time of the fasting or any crucial time. Because all the digested nutrients, all the nutrients is not used by the body once at a time. Okay, so what is the assimilation? Assimilation is the process in which blood carries all the nutrients and supply it to each and every cell of our body, where nutrients get respired to produce energy. Okay. One more important thing that we have to mention here, all the nutrients, all the digested food is not utilized by the body at once. The extra digested nutrients the extra digested nutrients gets converted in glycogen with the help of liver, with the function of liver, with the help of liver. And what is glycogen? It is the stored food. When our body needs the energy, this glycogen gets converted into glucose oxidized and gives us energy. So this is the assimilation. Now move towards the last step of the digestion, that is called the digestion. The last step of the digestion, that is called digestion. Okay, digestion is simply the removal of the waste or the undigested food out the body. Okay, all the food which is not get digested, it gets converted into solid waste, and that solid waste is removed out from the body with the help of the large intestine. So what happened here? The undigested food now enter in large intestine. Again, with the help of the peristaltic movement. That is going on from esophagus up to the anus. So the undigested food reaches in the small intestine. The small intestine, the inner wall of the small intestine also contains villi. And what is the role of villi here? Villi absorb water-like substance from here. Okay, the inner wall of the villi present in large intestine absorbs the extra water from undigested food, because it contains lots of water. If all the water passes out from here, then our body gets dehydrated. So it is very important that large intestine absorbs the extra water from here that make our body hydrated. After removing the water, the rest of the material is removed from anus. Okay, in the form of the feces or stool. Okay, rest of the material removed through NS in the form of feces or stool. In the form of feces or stool. फेसिस और स्टूल के फॉर्म में वो हमारे बॉडी से रिमूव आउट हो जाता है. एंड द मूवमेंट बाय विच दिस सब्सटेंस दिस वेस्ट मटेरियल इज रिमूव्ड आउट फ्रॉम द बॉडी और द थ्रू एनस इज कॉल्ड एनल स्फिंक्टर. It's called the anal sphincter. Okay, the process, the movement through which feces removed through anus is called anus sphincter. Anus sphincter. Sphincter. Okay, so the one important term is here. What is the anal sphincter? It is the removal of the waste through the anus. Now, let's remind what is the process going on. It is little bit long process, so we have to remind it again. Now, what happened from starting? Okay, the process is completed in 5 steps. The process is completed in 5 steps. This is simply the mind map. Okay, see the mind map here. Mind map. Okay, now what happened here? See, the process is completed in 5 steps. One is called the ingestion. Okay, ingestion is taking food or eating food. Now, second step is called digestion. Second step is called digestion. It is completed in 3 places. First in the mouth, second in the stomach, okay, and third in the small intestine. Okay. Now, what happened here? In the mouth, the 3 parts is there. One is called teeth. What is the role? Cutting off food in small pieces. Then saliva, and third is the tongue. Saliva. What is the role of saliva? It contains salivary amylase. And what is the role of salivary amylase? To digest starch. Digestion of starch or carbohydrate. Okay. What is the role of tongue? The role of tongue is mixing of food and saliva. Okay. Before the food reaches in the stomach, before that, oesophagus is also there. The oesophagus, okay. The food, this mixing food goes in oesophagus with the help of a movement called peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement, and this food reaches to the stomach. This food reaches to the stomach. The stomach contains gastric juice. The stomach contains gastric juice from gastric gland. Gastric juice contains 3 substances: HCl, mucus, and pepsin. What is the role of HCl? It acidifies food. acidified the food. And one more important role of HCl, must remind, it also make our food bacteria free. Okay, the two roles played by the HCl. First, it acidify the food and also kill all the bacteria present in our food. HCl, mucus protect the inner wall of the stomach, and pepsin convert or digest protein. Digest protein. Okay. Now our food reaches to small intestine. It reaches to small intestine. In a small intestine, three substances present. One from liver. Liver gives bile. Okay. Then pancreas. Pancreas gives pancreatic amylase or simply amylase. Trypsin and lipase. Okay. Now what is the role of the bile? Emulsify fat. Emulsify fat. Amylase. Digested starch. Trypsin. Digested protein. Lipase. Digested fat. Okay. Then one more substance added here in the small intestine, that is called intestinal juice. Intestinal juice, which converts our food into simpler form. The starch gets converted into glucose. Okay. Then protein gets converted into amino acids. Amino acids, and fat gets converted into fatty acids and glycerol. The complete digestion is over here. Then the third step is the absorption. It is performed by villi. It is performed by villi of ileum of small intestine. Then assimilation. It is performed by blood vessels. And last is the digestion. It is performed by NS. Before NS, large intestine, and the last part of the large intestine is NS, which releases it in the form of the feces by the movement called anal excretion. Okay, friends, this is all for today's class. Bye-bye.